Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
The White House takes a stand against Russia as tensions rise along Ukraine's border. President Biden prepares to put pen to paper regarding sanctions.
The executive order will likely have implications in the U.S. Punishing the Kremlin could mean more pressure at the pump in the Rockford area.
And police track down a Rockford shooting suspect in a neighboring state. The victim's family has a message for their son's alleged killer. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson. Intelligence experts believe a Russian invasion of Ukraine could happen at any moment after Vladimir Putin's latest action.
And President Biden is set to announce an executive order to respond. Washington correspondent Hannah Brandt has details. Eyewitness News is keeping you connected to the nation's capital.
The White House says President Biden is planning to issue an executive order to prohibit Americans from doing business in the DNR and LNR regions of Ukraine. Those are the two regions that President Putin just recognized as independent. On Monday, President Putin signed a declaration recognizing the two eastern Ukrainian regions highlighted on this map as independent territories. Reaction from the White House was swift. President Biden promised an executive order to cut off the two regions from U.S. business and finance. Putin's move could allow Russia to claim an invasion is actually an attempt to protect the Russian people in those areas. For weeks, U.S. officials have warned about Russian misinformation like this. Secretary of State Antony Blinken called out an escalation of those tactics on CNN's State of the Union on Sunday.
All of these false flag operations, all of these provocations to create justifications.
U.S. leaders say they believe President Putin has already made up his mind to invade Ukraine.
But until the tanks are actually rolling and the planes are flying, we will use every opportunity and every minute we have to see if diplomacy can still dissuade President Putin from carrying this forward.
President Biden has agreed to face-to-face talks with the Russian president, but only if an invasion hasn't happened. If it does, Pentagon spokesman John Kirby told Fox News there will be major consequences for Russia.
These are going to be crippling sanctions, sanctions the likes of which we have not put in place before. They're going to be unprecedented.
The White House says the executive order is separate from other sanctions and is promising to do more to punish Russia. In Washington, I'm Hannah Brandt.
The threat of war overseas would likely have a financial impact here in the state line. According to analysts, a Russian invasion into Ukraine could drive up United States gasoline prices to an all-time high. The U.S. is the largest producer of oil in the world, about 20% of the total. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, Russia is third with 11%. If President Biden places those sanctions on the Kremlin, Russia could retaliate by curbing oil exports. That would cause issues across the world. One gas expert tells us the threat adds stress during a time when it's already expensive to fill up your car.
We're also entering the time of year that we start transitioning to more expensive summer gasoline, that demand starts to go up, and that refineries are doing maintenance. And just those three seasonal factors usually boost gas prices anywhere from 25 to 75 cents a gallon from March through Memorial Day.
Coming up tonight at 9 and 10, we'll look at more impacts international conflicts could have here at home.
A Rockford man accused of murder hides from police by crossing state lines.
The homicide took place in September 2020. Investigators say Corian Young shot and killed an 18-year-old man on Elm Street. Police arrested Young in Iowa earlier this month. He also faces charges in connection with the death of a 3-year-old Rockford boy.
The teenage murder victim's family has identified him as Krishan Arnold.
Rachel Perry spoke with Arnold's mom. Rachel, she hopes the arrest is a step closer to justice for her son.
Mimi and Eric, Danielle Horton tells me her son Krishan was the man killed that day. Now, nearly 2 years later, she says these charges are bittersweet.
And usually when he calls, he wants something. So I was like, what you want? You want some food, the Uber, what do you? He was like, no, Mom, I was just calling to tell you I love you.
Danielle Horton remembers the last conversation she had with her son just hours before he was shot.
And then the phone kind of started staticking, and then we lost the signal.
18-year-old Krishan Arnold was killed on September 8th, 2020 in Rockford. Now Corian Young is charged with his murder. Horton tells me she's waited more than 1.5 years for this.
It doesn't bring him back. I've waited for this moment for a very long time, but I still don't know how I feel about it.
Horton says she's known all along who killed her son and has this message for him.
I would just want to let him know that, he just doesn't know how he destroyed my life. He took everything from me.
Now looking back at memories between basketball games and goofy moments together, she's hopeful Krishan won't be forgotten.
Krishan was a very loving, charming, outgoing kid, very goofy.
Horton wants other parents impacted by gun violence to know, while it may not get easier, don't give up fighting for justice. Mimi?
We'll continue to follow that. All right, thanks, Rachel. An afternoon shooting in Rockford leaves a man fighting to stay alive. This happened around 12:45 near Integrity Motor Cars on 11th Street. That's where officers found one victim shot in critical condition. He was rushed to the hospital. Investigators did not say if anyone's been arrested in connection with the shooting. If you have any information, contact Rockford Police or Crime Stoppers.
We ended the weekend with a gorgeous day yesterday. It is not quite as warm today, but still pretty nice.
Hopefully you made the most of the spring-like conditions because freezing rain is on the way. Let's head back over to Candace with more.
And that freezing rain is not something that everybody is going to pick up on here later tonight and through the day tomorrow. For some, it'll be a little bit more impactful. For others, it's going to be mostly rain that comes down and actually could cause some localized flooding. So we've got the ice potential here later tonight. That is likely more to our north and northwest. Some minor ice accumulations throughout the day tomorrow. So some impacts there to the Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon commute. And then we're dealing with rainfall. So we've got kind of this split spring winter that'll impact much of southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. So let's first talk about the winter side of this. Winter weather advisory will go into effect here southern Wisconsin as well as for Stevenson and Joe Davies counties. The counties that are underneath that winter weather advisory, the likely areas that'll pick up on some minor ice accumulations, and those ice accumulations could range anywhere from 1/10 of an inch up to 2/10 of an inch. So just keep that in mind from tonight throughout the day tomorrow. You get a little bit further south, temperatures might actually stay a bit above freezing, even in just a little. You've got more of a rain and potentially heavy rain threat. Flood watch goes into effect at midnight. This does include Winnebago counties, points to the east there, and then off to the south. So let's put this all together. We are dry right now. I do think we're going to see a little bit of drizzle move in as we get closer to about 6, 7, 8 o'clock here tonight. You're also going to notice a little more fog. The cloud cover has been on the increase. Temperatures here through about midnight should stay above freezing, but notice right near the state line, you start to see that mix or a little bit of freezing rain. That's north and to the northwest. So heads up for areas north and northwest here of Rockford. Some heavier rainfall coming down during that time to the south and southeast. This will kind of all be wrapping up tomorrow afternoon. We'll look at some ice accumulations, rainfall totals too, guys, coming up here in the full forecast a little later.
This week, hundreds of local high school students get an up-close look at career options in the trades.
The 2022 Building Trades Career Expo ramps up Tuesday. Participants will learn about more than a dozen trades with hands-on activities. Members of local labor unions will be there to answer questions and give students a quick look at what life on the job might be like. Organizers are excited to highlight the benefits of a career in the trades.
We have a very strong industry for our union trades and our union contractors, which means a lot of opportunities to get into these fields, make a good living, build a true middle-class life where you can buy a house and all that kind of stuff.
The expo runs tomorrow through Thursday at the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Training Center on Bowling Drive in Rockford. Morning sessions begin at 10. Another option starts at 1:15 in the afternoon. Students enjoy the tail end of their long weekend with the day off of school in honor of President's Day.
Members of Rockford's Young Eagles Success or Yes Club use their free time to learn anyways. Aside from the Yes Club staples of singing and dancing, kids also got 2 lessons in 1. Students discussed President's Day and Black History Month at today's meeting, giving them the tools to become great leaders.
Sometimes leaders have to give up their days or certain time periods to do some things that are very important. And so all of these young people understand the importance of commitment, which we teach them.
Yes Club's goal is to set students up for positivity, character development, academic achievement, and success.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, we've got a lot to get to here just in the short 24 hours, so let's get right into it. Things are nice and quiet for us tonight. We are starting to see a little bit more cloud cover build in. A live look with our Mercial Skytrack camera now, out looking to the south here over downtown Rockford. Well, you've probably noticed those breaks in the clouds that we had earlier today starting to fill in with a little bit more cloud cover, and that'll be the trend here as we go through the next several hours. Temperatures are also cooling. Notice we're dropping closer to that freezing mark to the north of us. 37 in Freeport, 40 currently in Rockford, still at 44 in Rochelle, 41 now in DeKalb, and you're sitting at 45 degrees down in Sterling. 41 for our weather watcher Bob here on the southeast end of Rockford. That dew point temperature at 35. So we've got a lot of moisture. We've got a cold front that's kind of turned stationary, tries to lift back north as a warm front tonight, all tied into an area of low pressure that'll be working in from the southwest. You've got moisture down to the south. You've got snow falling up to the north. For the next couple of hours, we are going to be dry, but we will likely start to see a little fog and maybe even some drizzle begin to develop over the next couple of hours before we get some light rain to move in. Now, temperatures, these are really going to be key and something we have to keep a very close eye on as we go not only through the night tonight, but also during the day tomorrow. So this is kind of what it looks like here as we go through the night. South of the state line from Rockford on point south, so roughly from about Highway 20 on southward, our temperatures should be above freezing, even if just a little here. That'll support mostly rain that'll take us into not only the overnight tonight, but also into the morning tomorrow. You get north of that, north of Highway 20, closer to the Wisconsin-Illinois state line, southern Wisconsin, those temperatures are going to be borderline freezing. And I do think tomorrow morning that holds a better chance of seeing a little bit more freezing rain. Maybe a couple of rain showers mixing in, but some freezing rain associated with that. So from Janesville down to Freeport, you could actually have some minor icy conditions there early tomorrow. That trend and that kind of dividing line is something that'll continue as we go not only throughout the morning, but then into the early afternoon. Notice temperatures here for the most of us above freezing. You get a little bit further south. We might start to see some of that colder air begin to sink a little bit further south there into Rockford before we get into the afternoon and then begin to see some of that transition over to more of some very light freezing rain. But by the time that low pressure system passes, most of that moisture is going to be moving out. Things will kind of dry out and conditions will turn a little bit more calm once we get into tomorrow night and then into Wednesday. So what does this mean for you tomorrow morning? Well, I think you get south of Rockford, the impacts are going to be rain, heavy rain at that. You get north of Rockford from Janesville, Freeport, I think you're included a little bit on this. You get north there, Cedarville, Orangeville, and then out towards Joe Davies County, some minor ice accumulations, 1/10, maybe up to 2/10 of an inch. I think that would be on the higher end, right around 1/10 of an inch. Rainfall is also another concern. Notice some of these rainfall totals. We could be talking 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, to maybe even 3/4 of an inch of rain by the time this is all said and done. So that could lead to the risk for some localized flooding, especially in the low-lying areas. And then you look at some of that runoff too, because we've got that with the ground and the frost depth anywhere from about 8 to 20 inches in the ground, so some of that will begin to run off. So from 35 tonight into the low mid-30s for tomorrow. We're down, guys, in the 20s here as we go through the rest of this week. We'll see a little bit of snow begin to move in here for Thursday. Could be some minor accumulations with that. That would take us into Thursday afternoon.
Now sports with David Greenberg.
Last night, Fred VanVleet made history as the first Rockford native to play in the NBA All-Star Game. It's something Fred and many NBA players worked for their entire lives.
From the Toronto Raptors, Fred VanVleet!
It was Team LeBron versus Team Durant. Fred was on Team LeBron, and the King was back in his castle doing his signature pregame ritual. At the end of the first quarter, Fred hit his first three of the night from the wing after missing his first few. Next possession, VanVleet passes it to Luka Doncic. He spots up and hits the three ball. Fred gets the assist. The second now, Luka returns the favor. Lobs it to the corner. Fred throws up the three ball and hits it. That was all his points for the night right there. Finished with 6. And coming into the weekend, Zach LaVine was dealing with a knee injury, but I'd say that knee is looking pretty good there. About the 360 two-handed slam. The player who stole the show was Steph Curry. It's fitting that LeBron sealed the game, pushing this one to a 163-160 win. Afterwards, Fred talked about the experience and how much he enjoyed the weekend.
Probably just being in the locker room and just, you know, being around the guys, just to be able to hear some of the stories and share stories. So I think that's probably the best part, just to be a part of the brotherhood of what, you know, this elite level is. And obviously the game was way more fun than anything else I've done since I've been here.
Well, the second half of the NBA season will resume on Thursday, giving the All-Stars a few much-needed days of relaxation. It'll give Fred a couple more days with his children, Sana and Fred Jr., as you saw there. They got to spend some time with Dad over the weekend, and who would have thought they'd be the ones answering questions in the post-game interview?
All questions got to go to you first. You got to answer.
I can't do it! No! I do it.
Okay. How was the game?
Good.
How'd you expect your team's performance? Okay. we gotta go to media training. you gotta get some practice. Come on, hurry up, Jay. Okay, are you ready to go to the beach? Okay, say beach on 3. 1, 2, 3, beach. Y'all need some work, man.
I think Fred's got a future in reporting. That's sports. We'll be right back.
There was a whole lot of thawing going on out there yesterday.
Yeah, there's not much snow left. There's certain pockets here and there, and of course the parking lot mountains
a lot of puddles.
are there. Yeah, and definitely lots of puddles.
Lots of puddles, lots of mud, just kind of mush out there. And amazingly, too, a lot of the snow, the heavy snow that fell south, pretty much all gone, too, from the last couple of snowstorms. Yeah, so we've had some pretty decent melting take place. We've got rain that moves in here later tonight. The first warning interactive radar brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and More. That does become a little more active here over the next few hours. We've got a freezing rain, some minor ice accumulations and some slick spots, especially north and west of Rockford. You get a little bit further south, it's more some heavy rain. And don't even be surprised if you hear some rumbles of thunder overnight and early tomorrow.
Thanks, Candace.
And thank you for spending some of your time with us. Stay safe.